Okay, so we're going to start by preparing the sales budget and use the information that is provided in the case. But before we dive into the sales budget, let's just remind ourselves where the budgeting process begins. If you recall, I mentioned earlier that the budgeting process begins with the sales forecast. So the sales forecast, basically what it is management will sit there and look at all the factors such as the general economic conditions, the industry trends, market research. They'll look at advertising and promotion plans. They'll look at the previous market share, the previous market prices, any technological developments, and they'll prepare what we call a sales forecast. So basically, a sales forecast is a sales budget. This is simply an estimate of the amount of revenue that the company will expect to generate over a specified period. And this again will be based on what they expect to sell, whether it's units for products that they're selling or if it's services. So since in our example we're looking at a manufacturing company, we want to bottom line in the sales budget find out how much sales revenue is going to be generated by this company for both products for the month of November. And so, as a starting point, you know that we have product A and product B right here. And so, one thing that we know is you need to know what are your expected units that you need to sell. So, what are the expected units that must be sold? And then additional information that is going to be needed is going to be like the unit selling price. Okay, so the unit selling price for the products, and from that will give us our total sales. So if we go to the problem for product A and product B, the units that were estimated to be sold were 400,000 for product A and 250 for product B. The unit selling price was 30 for product A and 35 for product B, and the total selling price is the number of units times the price per unit. That was the total. Where's my auto sum? Right there, that was the total revenue, the total sales that this company expected to make for the month of November. Okay, so that's it for the sales budget, my friends. It's simply how many units do we expect to sell? What is the selling price per unit? What are the total sales that we expect to get? All right, that's it. We're done with the sales budget. Before we move on to the next budget, though, what I like to do is use the information that were provided and prepare schedules for cash collections or cash payments. So we'll start with the schedule for cash collections here, and we will have for both November and December. So we will start with our November sales. So if you look at our November sales, we'll say, okay, we said 80% would be collected. So 80% will be collected. So the total sales is this 80%. So times 80% is going to be collected in November, which means that the balance, so that times 20%, the 20% is going to be collected in December. Now remember that from the problem, if you look at the data, 80% are collected in the month of the sales, and then the rest is collected the following month. So in November, there was an amount, 20% of the October sales were collected in November. So what we need to do is go to our balance sheet and see how much receivables were on the balance sheet by October 31st. So if we go to our balance sheet, you will see that 6 million. So accounts receivables, yes, 6 million was from the October sales. The 6 million was collected in November. So the cash collections in November would be this, and then in December would be collecting this. So what that means is this is the cash that will be collected in November from our sales, including November sales and the 20% from the previous month. And then this amount here will be a receivable. The 4,080,000 will be a receivable on the balance sheet. So we'll come back and we'll use this information to prepare part of our balance sheet and also to prepare like our cash budget. But as for the sales budget, this is all there is to it. The sales budget is simple. How many units did we sell? What is the selling price per unit? What is the total revenue that we expect to receive? Okay? Alright, that's it. Let's move on to the next budget, which is the production budget.